GR IAS Academy.
"100 days, 100 themes, one goal UPSC Prelims." Hello everyone, welcome back to Mission Surya. In this program we deal with current affairs completely from prelims perspective. So let's get started. Our first topic is Delimitation Commission. So why this commission comes into picture? What is the Delimitation Commission? What is the delimitation? Let's see. So delimitation is nothing but process of fixing number of seats based on the boundaries. So boundaries of constituencies. So there will be number of seats, right? So based on the population, constituencies will be divided and number of seats will be fixed. So this process is called delimitation. It is done both for the Lok Sabha and assemblies. So who does this? Delimitation Commission does this exercise. So on what basis? Based on the population, that is the census data. So what it tells? It tells about political equality. That means one person will have one vote value. So what about Delimitation Commission? It is a statutory body. It functions like a quasi-judicial body and it is created by the Parliament through the Delimitation Act, okay, appointed by the Union Government. So who are part of the Delimitation Commission? A retired Supreme Court judge is a chairperson of the Delimitation Commission, and it also consists Chief Election Commissioner and State Election Commissioners. There might be associate members like MPs and MLAs who are just for the advisory purposes but not for the voting power. So what about the powers of the Delimitation Commission? So whatever Delimitation Commission does, their laws will have the power, like force of law will be there. The laws made by the Delimitation Commission will be binding on the executive and legislature, and the orders given by the Delimitation Commissions are binding on Parliament and cannot be modified by them, okay. So whenever President specifies the date, from then those orders given by the Delimitation Commission comes into force. So what about the judicial review? We just told Delimitation Commission acts as a quasi-judicial body. So it's not actually belong to the judiciary, but it acts like a judicial body. So whatever the orders given by the Delimitation Commission have the force of law. So when these Delimitation Commission orders are having force of law, mostly these laws will not have any judicial reviews, but it has few exceptions. When it has exceptions, when constitutional principles will be violated or arbitrariness is observed in the Delimitation Commission actions. So there are few constitutional provisions regarding this. Article 82 tells about delimitation is conducted after every census, okay. Article 170, it tells to readjustment of assembly constituencies after the census, and other 330 for SC reservation in Lok Sabha and 332 for reservations in state assemblies, and 327 is for Parliament's power of over elections, and Article 329A deals with the delimitation matters or completely protected, means Parliament cannot interfere in the delimitation commission decisions. So those are binding. The orders given by the delimitation commission are binding on the Union Parliament. So here the constitution use term authority, which means delimitation commission via delimitation act. So there have been different delimitation commissions in India. 1952 they have used 51 census, that's the first delimitation exercise. 1962 they have used 1961 census, and 1972 they have used 1971 census, and 2002 they have used 2001 census. So this is the latest delimitation. Okay. So there are total 4 commissions till now. So we have freezed the seats. Okay. 42nd amendment, they have freezed the seats till 2001, and through the 84th Amendment Act, this freezing of seats continue till 2026, and in 2003 they have used 2001 census. Okay. So the total number of seats have been the same till 2026. Only the constituencies, that is the boundaries, have been changed through the delimitation commission. So let's see different amendment acts. So what about this, the constitution, 131st Amendment Act. So according to this bill, there is a proposal to increase the number of seats to 850 seats. So they want to maintain equal representation based on the population. Okay, they want to remove the delimitation freeze. So there has been freeze right from 1971, and they have implemented 2001 census in one exercise in the last delimitation. So they want to remove the number of seats have been freezed, even though boundaries of the constituencies have been changed, but the number of seats were fixed. So based on this bill, they want to increase the number of seats and change the number of seats and to adjust the constituents accordingly. So this delimitation, through this delimitation they want to use 2011 census. So through this bill they also want to implement immediately the 33% women's quota. Okay. And to pass this amendment, there is a requirement for special majority plus 50% of the state's ratification. So this is compulsory for the amendment. Moving to the next bill, delimitation bill 2026. So this replaces the delimitation 2002. So this will empower the union government to appoint a new delimitation commission. So who consists? We already told there is a Supreme Court judge, retired Supreme Court judge, chief election commissioner, state election commissioners, and associate members as well as like MLAs and MPs. So they will not have voting powers, but they will have advisory role. That will be the composition of the delimitation commission. Okay. What about the powers? We just told they are quasi judicial body, so they will have the powers like a civil court. And whatever the orders given by the delimitation commission, they are the final and have the force of law. And only under exceptional circumstances the orders passed by the delimitations can be challenged. Otherwise they cannot be challenged in any court of law. And based on the census, especially 2011 census, they want to redraw the boundaries and the constituencies will be determined. So, that is about this amendment. Moving to the next amendment bill, the Union Territories Laws Amendment Bill 2026. So, they want to implement 33% reservation and for the legislatures as well, like Delhi, Jammu and Kashmir and Puducherry. Okay. So, what is the requirement? Normally, ordinary bill requires a simple majority. So, there is another concept called Nari Shakti Vandan Adhinayam, Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam 106 Constitutional Amendment 2023. So, what about this act? This is the act which is passed, that is supporting for the 33% of the Lok Sabha seats and state assemblies have been reserved for the women. So, this is the 106th Constitutional Amendment that gives 33%, that is 1/3 of the seats available in the Parliament and state assemblies were the reserved for the women. So, there is also vertical horizontal quota. So, there is a sub quota for women in the 33% and in the SC ST reserved seats. So, there is no separate reservation for the OBC women. So, that is there. So, the constituencies will be rotated, means every time women will not come in same constituency, they will be rotated once here, once here, once here. So, different constituencies, every time the number of seats reserved will be same, but every time women reserved seat will be changed to different constituencies. And there is a sunset clause, means expiry of the clause, that is initially for the 15 years it has been given and extendable by Parliament passing the new law. Moving to the next topic, delimitation basics. So, we already told boundaries will be drawn based on the census data and number of seats will be fixed accordingly. So, that is called delimitation. So, why we do this? In order to achieve political equality. So, there are few articles related to this concept, like Article 82, which says that there is a need to enact delimitation act after census for allotment of seats in the Lok Sabha. And the next is Article 170, it says for the state legislative assemblies. So, these are the important articles dealing with the delimitation exercise. Moving to the next topic, Finance Commission. So, what is this Finance Commission? So, Finance Commission is the commission which helps in the division of taxes between the center and the states. So, it deals with the devolution of taxes between the center and states. So, which article deals with the Finance Commission? It's Article 280, it says about Finance Commission. So, it is a constitutional body. So, what is Article 280? That it says that President will constitute a Finance Commission for every 5 years or before 5 years. So, for constitution of Finance Commission, there will be qualification and selection processes which are determined by the Parliament. So, that is about Finance Commission. So, what about its nature? We just told it is a constitutional body according to Article 280. And whatever Financial Commission says, these are only advisory in nature. That means they are not binding. So, since they helps in they participate in division of taxes, they help to maintain financial relations between center and state. So, the first Finance Commission was constituted in 1951, 16th Finance Commission in 2023. Arvind Panagria is the chairperson of the Finance Commission. So this changes, right? So who are members of the Finance Commission? So it consists of one chairman and 4 members who are appointed by the president. So chairman will be having experience in public affairs, and other 4 members will be having qualification. Either they should be qualified to become a high court judge, or must be an expert in finance and accounts, or administrative experience, or economist, or based on the Finance Commission Act 1951, these qualifications have been given for the chairman and the members. Okay. What are the functions of Finance Commission? The first one is division of taxes between the centers and state. Okay, that is the first function. And there is another function, distribution among states. Okay, first you will divide like 50, let's say 50% for center and state. Okay. Now this 50% given to the states will be divided between number of states that are present in India. So this is vertical devolution, center and states, and this is horizontal devolution of taxes, that is between states. Okay. So this both will be done by the Finance Commission. Grants and aid. So through Consolidated Fund of India also there will be grants, and for along with the state consolidated fund there will be panchayats and municipalities support also will be there. So any matter referred by president is also taken up by the Finance Commission. Those are the functions of Finance Commission. Let's see some other important topics related to the Finance Commission. So the tax revenue is shared, right, between center and states, but it excludes cess and surcharge. Those will not be shared. So what happens here? States' effective share will be reduced because this completely goes to union. So state share will reduce. So 50-50 will not come between the center and states. So how the working process is done? So Finance Commission submits reports to President, and President, he will raise the report to the Parliament. Okay. We just told whatever the recommendations given by Finance Commissions are advisory and not binding. However, usually they are accepted in the practice. So this promotes equity, development and cooperative federalism between the center and states. So there are few criticisms against Finance Commission as well, because since it is advisory, it is not enforceable, and there is a limited flexibility for state needs. Because of the exclusion of cess and surcharge, state share will be reduced. Before it used to overlap with the Planning Commission, now replaced by the Niti Aayog. What about the center and states? States demand that we need higher tax share. So there will be a disputes among this taxes division, and there is also imbalance between different states. In the horizontal devolution also there will be developed and less developed states. So less income states will demand more, high income states say we generate this much money but we get less. There will be that debate. Moving to the next topic, official language. So what is official language? So for our India, there is no national language. This is very important. There is no national language. We have only official language. Okay. We have only official language. There is no national language. So our official language is Hindi in the Devanagari script. So numerical forms is Indian numerals, international form of Indian numerals, not the Devanagari script. So what about English? So English is continued as the official language from 15 years from the commencement of the constitution, but president can authorize use of Hindi along with the English. Okay. After 15 years, Parliament can enact laws to continue the usage of English language as the official language. So that is about the official language. So there will be commissions and committees dealing with the official language. So let's see the commission. The commission is appointed by the president initially at the end of the 5 years, then after 10 years from the commencement of the Indian constitution. So who are the members of this commission? Chairman and few other members from different scheduled languages. So there are many languages for India. What are the functions of the commission? Say they recommend usage of Hindi, and they also recommend to restrict the language of English for the Supreme Court and High Courts and the form of numerals and union state communication. For everywhere else, Hindi is recommended. So what about the committee? It consists of 30 members, 20 from Lok Sabha and 10 from Rajya Sabha. So what about these functions? This committee examines the recommendations given by the commission and gives it to the president. So president takes decision on the report of the committee and the commissions. So what about the regional language? For any state, they can adopt any language for its official language or Hindi. They have two options. Between union state communication and interstate, usually it is English language. But two or more states, they can agree to use Hindi for communication between those states. So what about the regional populations? So if state population demands, president can authorize to officially recognize the language in the state or such specific parts where the population demanded for the language. What about the judiciary? So until Parliament tells, English will be used for all processes, say Supreme Court and High Courts. And for the authoritative text of all bills, acts, ordinances, rules and regulations, any communication between the center and state uses English language. But there are few exceptions of High Courts. The government can authorize Hindi or any state language for High Court proceedings. Okay, but judgments, decrees and order must still be in English. Okay. There are exceptions for state laws. State legislature, they can prescribe a language other than English for bills and acts, but English translation must be published. So there is an exception for state laws. So what about the language of grievances? So a person can submit a representation that any language can be used in the union or state. So that cannot be rejected, that it is not an official language. Okay, fine. What about the mother tongue education? States or local authorities, they have to provide for instructions in the mother tongue at the primary education level for the linguistic minorities. Okay. So the president can issue directions for implementing teaching in the mother tongue education. This is protected by Article 350A for linguistic minorities. Though there is a special officer appointed for linguistic minorities under Article 350B appointed by the president. So, this special officer investigate all matters relating to the linguistic minorities. Okay. He reports to the president and president lays the report to the parliament and sends it to the state governments also. So, that is about the special officer for linguistic minorities. So, what are the important provisions related to the Official Languages Act? So, between union and states, English must be used. If 2 or 3 states they want to talk in Hindi, they want to communicate in Hindi, that can be done. Okay. But if any non-Hindi state is there, there is a need for translation. What about the authoritative texts? Hindi translations of central acts, ordinances, rules are authoritative. All bills must be accompanied by a Hindi translation. So, what about the judiciary? The governor can authorize in Hindi language or state language for high court judgments. But there is a need for English translation also. So, for complete notes, please visit our website. Links are given in the description box below. For complete UPSC preparation, follow our Instagram and Telegram channels and subscribe to our YouTube channel. For past videos, check our playlist. Links are given in the description box below.